Hello, Class 3. It feels like ages since I've read a chapter from the book. I hope you've all enjoyed the Easter holidays as best that you can. I'm missing you all very, very, very much. I'm missing being in the classroom with you all and everything. Hopefully we'll be back to normal soon, fingers crossed. Okay, so we're up to chapter 26. So in the previous two chapters, Varjak had met Sally Bones and Sally Bones' gang. He'd managed to stand his ground with Razor using his new skills, and he even came face to face with a dog. And then in the very last chapter that we read, chapter 25, he was dreaming again that he was back in Mesopotamia and that Jalal had taught him the sixth skill, which was shadow walking. And at the end of the chapter, he said to him, "You must know yourself and be sure of yourself before you can let yourself go. Do you know who you are?" And Varjak didn't understand, and he said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Think about it, Varjak Potter." And then he disappeared. He said, "Think hard, for your life will depend upon it." So let's see if he's going to have to use this sixth skill to save his family. Right, chapter 26. Varjak awoke. He was sprawled on the ground in the alley. His shoulder screamed with pain. Holly was gone. The bristly barking monster towered above him, its foul breath in his face. Its big red tongue lolled out, glistening hungrily. It looked like it was getting ready to eat him. He was wrong to trust his instincts. This creature was worse than a dog. It was the most terrifying monster in the world. He had to do something. Shadow walking, the sixth skill. Think about nothing. Empty your mind of thoughts. Varjak concentrated. Nothing. But it wasn't that easy. The pain in his shoulder filled his mind. He couldn't do it. He couldn't shadow walk. Varjak looked up desperately at the narrow brick walls of the alley. It felt as if they were closing in on him. If only he could get to the ledge. He tried to stand up, but it hurt too much. There was no escape now. It was all over. The monster's drooling mouth opened wide. "Cludge," it said in a deep, deep voice. Varjak stared, helpless. It blinked those cloudy eyes. Then it licked itself once. "Cludge," it repeated. Varjak scratched his ears, not quite sure what he was hearing. "Is that your name?" he said. "Cludge." It panted. A shy smile appeared at the corner of its mouth. "Cludge," it affirmed. Varjak smiled back. Maybe Cludge wasn't going to eat him after all. "Varjak," he said. "I'm Varjak." Varjak. 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 "That's right, Cludge. I'm Varjak." Varjak, barked Cludge. "You've got it. Varjak." Varjak gingerly shifted his weight onto his front paws. His shoulder twinged, though not as badly as before, and he flopped back onto the ground. There he is. His first meeting with a dog. I don't think he's sure that it doesn't even know that it is a dog, does he? He thinks the cars are dogs. Cludge reached down to lick the wounded shoulder. His big black eyes were cloudy with worry. "Sorry, Varjak," he sighed. "Didn't mean to hurt." "That's okay. I should have run like the other cats." Cludge was scared. Varjak not scared. "No," he smiled. He was beginning to like this great big creature. Cludge looked fierce, but he seemed gentle inside. "Cludge alone," he sniffed. "Everyone run from Cludge. No friends." Varjak looked into Cludge's eyes again. He could see it all in there. He recognised it. His pain, his fear, his loneliness. "It's all right, Cludge," he said quietly. "You're not alone. We'll be friends, you and me." "Friends?" panted Cludge. "Varjak, Cludge, friends?" Varjak grinned. "Friends," he said. He tried to stand up again. This time his shoulder took the weight. "Friends, barked Cudge, and he wagged his tail. Varjack, Cudge, friends, 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 friends. Varjack Paw, said a gravelly voice. This is a first. I've seen a lot of things in this city. I've seen you hit Razor, but this is truly something else. Holly jumped down from the wall. You did it. You talked to a dog. She shook her head. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. It's... A dog, said Varjack, and Cudge barked. Yes, a dog, said Holly, keeping a safe distance from Cudge. What do you think it is? But he's not like the other dogs. What other dogs? You know, the metal ones. Holly looked baffled. I've never seen a dog like that. In the distance, a monster shrieked and roared. Those ones, said Varjack. The dogs that make that noise. Holly shook her head. That's not a dog. That's a car. A what? Car, barked Cudge. Cars are fun. Cudge chase cars. So they weren't dogs, said Varjack. Let me get this straight, said Holly. All the time you thought we were talking to dogs. What you were really doing was talking to cars. Varjack frowned. He was confused. The metal monsters were dogs. He was sure they were. But had anyone else ever called them dogs? No. Now he thought about it, he'd never known for certain what they were. He just assumed they were dogs, because they fitted the Elder Paw's description from the tales. They filled his heart with fear. They had foul breath and a deafening sound, and they looked strong enough to kill a man. But he had to admit, so did Cudge. Awareness, the second skill. Before you do anything, you must know what you are dealing with. Assume nothing, be sure of the facts. That was exactly what he'd failed to do. He'd almost killed himself trying to talk to a car. A beginner's mistake, not the kind of mistake a cat who knew the way would make. He wouldn't make it now, and he was sure Sally Bones wouldn't either. Holly giggled. What's so funny? Varjack demanded. She pulled herself together, but only just. You, she said. Cars aren't even alive, you moron. You can't talk to a car. You didn't think I could talk to Cudge either, reasoned Varjack. Cudge only talk to friends, said the big dog. See, said Varjack, maybe cars only talk to their friends too. Holly couldn't control herself any longer. Her whiskers started to twitch and her body began to shake, and then she cracked up completely. Laughter streamed out of her and flew around the alley like a flock of birds. It was everywhere, it was contagious. Cudge rolled around on the ground, yelping and panting helplessly, and then Varjack found himself laughing too. He couldn't help it. He had to join in with them. It was a good feeling, light and free. He saw it all now, how he got it wrong. Of course cars weren't dogs. Cudge was a dog. Cudge was a dog? Varjack stopped laughing. Cudge was a dog. With a dog, he could still save his family from the gentleman and his cats. If only there was time. Cudge, I need your help. I need you to scare a man. Can you do that? Cudge stopped yelping and became very serious. He drew himself up to his full height and bared his yellow teeth. Holly's laughter tailed away at the sight. Cudge scare everyone, the great dog said in his deep voice, except Varjack. Then let's go. There's no time to waste. Varjack turned to Holly. Coming? Where? Up the hill. 3 of us. We're going to save my family. This is mad, said Holly. But no one messes with Sally Bones and gets away with it. We're not safe in this city anymore. She stood up. So, all right, Mr. Paw, lead the way. Where you go, I go. Something in Varjack soared at that moment. Thank you, he said. My friends. Let's do chapter 27 as well. Chapter 27. The 3 friends headed for the hill at the top speed. Varjack explained about the gentleman and his black cats on the way. He hoped he wasn't too late. With the Elder Paw gone and father in charge, What would the family do when they were faced with the gentleman's cats? What would the gentleman's cats do to them? Anything could have happened. After all, the time he'd been away, the house would surely be different. Those pictures in his head, the red velvet armchair, the china feeding bowls, might not even exist anymore. He was sure of only one thing. They'd have to climb the wall to get in, and Varjak remembered it was the hardest climb of his life. Thunder growled above the city as they reached the foot of the hill. The sky was violet, with the threat of another storm. "It's up here," said Varjak, leading the way as lightning flashed overhead. They climbed the hill as fast as they could. Rain began to fall. It came in stinging whips which lashed into Varjak's nose, his eyes, his ears. He tried to snatch a breath, and water filled his mouth and surged down his throat. He choked on it, but he kept going up the hill, 1 step, 2 steps, 100, 1,000, whatever it took. The moon stared down at them, a sullen one, eyed sentry in the sky. "Give up," it seemed to say. "Give up and go away." Soaking, straining, panting for breath, they reached the top of the hill as the sky shattered in white light. What Varjak saw there made his fur prickle. A little stone wall stood before them, half the height of any in the city. It looked old and crumbling, as if it had been neglected for a very, very long time. Another burst of thunder rocked the earth. Varjak shivered. Could this really be the same wall which enclosed the world he grew up in? The wall that once seemed so high and impossible to climb? Was this the place he had left, or had everything changed while he was away? There was a door in the wall. He pushed at it. It wouldn't budge, it was locked. He circled the wall, seeking some familiar sight. A lightning flash revealed the cracks and fissures in the stone where the wild moss grew. At the top of the wall, he could see the gnarled upper branches of some stunted old trees, and there was that single tree he'd fallen down the night when he left home. Varjak touched its wet bark and smiled with relief. He recognised it now. Of course it was the same. The place would never change. It was him who had changed. "This is it," he shouted happily above the thunder. "These are the trees inside. We can climb down. I'll go first and—" "Cudge, what's wrong?" Cudge was shaking. His eyes were cloudy with fear again. Can't climb," he stammered. "Cudge can't climb." Varjak stared at the huge, powerful dog in disbelief. "You can't?" "Of course he can't," snapped Holly. "Everyone knows dogs can't climb. We'd be in big trouble if they could. Isn't there another way?" "Dogs can't climb?" "No, they can't," said Holly. She frowned. "This is the only way in, isn't it? I can tell from your face." It felt like falling through the air and never landing. They were so near, but that wall, that old stone wall, stood in their way once again. "Cudge, sorry," said a small, cared voice beside him. "Want to help, Varjak." Lightning flared up above and thunder cracked. Rain streamed down Varjak's face like tears. But it was strange, the stone didn't scare him as it had before. Instead, it seemed to enter him from whiskers to tail, filling him with his own wild power, so that he and the stone became one. There was no turning back now, with or without a dog. He was going to find his family. "It's all right, Cudge," he said. "You wait for us here. Come on, Holly. Let's go inside." They left Cudge cowering under the tree. The 2 cats stormed up the top of the wall. They clambered over the edge and down the other side, through a tangled maze of twisted branches. Silently, they stole into the garden. They padded over the wet grass and up to the cat door. "This is it," whispered Varjak as they slipped through. "This is the Contessa's house." And I will leave it there, ready for chapter 8 tomorrow. Can't wait to read the next chapter. It's all getting exciting now. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.